Hello. We are looking at LA condos today. I think I'm going to primarily focus on the west side here, just because I think it's good to kind of see what is like the entry level of places in LA. So if we go down here, so at least what I see usually here is like condos are slow in general at the moment. Um, But yeah, let me make sure I get the filters right. I'm gonna go active and coming soon. And let's see. All right, so I forgot to put the filters on for condos. So property search, condo, townhouse. I use those kind of interchangeably, condos and townhomes. So I'll show you, if we also do one more filter, I'm gonna do it on price. Because you're not gonna find a ton of stuff over like 1.5 million. So there's that. And then so here, you can kind of see, you do have condos that get above that million range, but you're looking kind of in the South Bay here. But, okay, so if you want to kind of be on the west side of LA with condos, your lowest price points that you're going to find are going to be right here in this section of Culver City called Fox Hills. That's you can kind of see here, 690 for a 2-bed, 2-bath. Pull out here a little bit. What else we got? 640 for a 2-bed, 2-bath, which is, you can kind of see these coming down because, like, let's say like a year or two ago, 2-bed condos were like pushing into the 700,000. So now you've kind of seen them drop back down into the 6s and even 5s right here. I think this is let me see here. It's not pulling up right. This is a complex called Heather Village in the Fox Hills neighborhood of Culver City. You can see it's 575. Unfortunately, they had some issues. They had some issues with their HOA, so that's why like these tend to be a little bit lower. Because I don't think, at least as of last year and possibly even into this year, you can't get a standard loan with them. So that's something to keep in mind. And it sounds like they're getting a lot stricter when it comes to condos for that kind of stuff. So yeah, so here, this little region of Culver City, this is like the lowest price of entry. And then if we come over here, this is Playa del Rey. This is another area that is like lower price point. Let me see here. I'm gonna learn how to highlight here. Let me see if I can figure this out. Mobile preview, highlight. Okay, so yeah, we'll talk about this a little bit. So I'm gonna go back since I don't think anybody really caught that. But okay. Let's highlight that. All right. So, okay. Oh, here we can record. Cool. Okay. So I'll record what I'm going to talk about here. So when it comes to Los Angeles and like some of the lower price points, at least to get on the west side, the primary areas that you'll see is right here. This is Fox Hills. You'll see some of the lower prices. Up until about a year or two ago, this stuff like 2-bedroom places were about in the 700 range, but you started to see them dip into the 600s and the 500s. So that's a lower priced area. The caveat with this area is it tends to be, you tend to have a lot of older buildings. They don't have washer and dryer in the unit. They don't have central AC. So, nowadays that's getting a lot more important. So just something to something to just keep in mind. So, and then we'll share another area that like a lot of people that will look in Fox Hills area will also look in, and that's Playa del Rey. Again, like when it comes to condo pricing, you've kind of seen it dip down some. So you've got what stuff that was originally in the like pushing into the high 700s is now into the low sevens and pushing into the sixes. So 675 for a 2-bedroom there. You can see the price reduction there, 3 months on market. But the cool thing about here, as opposed to the Fox Hills area, Fox Hills is going to be easier for access and stuff. But the problem is like I said, you don't have the washer dryer in the unit, the central climate control, stuff like that. So just good to know with like some of the easier access points over there. One thing that I'll show you too, I'll show you this. If you're looking, let me see. If you are looking in the Marina del Rey, so let's say you start your condo searches and you are trying to find like the best pricing, like on the LA West Side, you've got, like I said, you've got the Fox Hills area here, like with 2 bedrooms in the 6s now, and sometimes even the 5s. And then Playa del Rey, where it's dipping into the low 7s and 6s. You go over here and you might go, oh, this looks awesome. I'm in the marina, and watch the marina, $649 for a 3-bedroom condo. No way. But that's the thing about the Marina City Club. No disrespect to the Marina City Club if you live there, but let's actually, let me go back here. Let me pull it up a better way. Oh, that does work. Can you see it? You can't catch the let me get so that you can see the picture. So here's what it looks like. A little bit of an older building, great space. But here's the key about why the Marina City Club is going to look like a good deal. But then you start to look at this. So HOA fees, $19.11 monthly. And I'm pretty sure that $19.11 monthly is not just like the HOA. They also have a land lease. So that building is on county land. And so it's actually significantly higher. So the $649 price point here looks great, but you've got massive monthlies when it comes to that. So just something that's good to know for over here. I'll unrecord that. So yeah, so there's that. Okay, so let's get out back into our search here. And so that's the Marina City Club. So you've got the lowest prices being Playa del Rey, Fox Hills neighborhood, Culver City. I've kind of lost myself here. Right there. So the good thing about Fox Hills, if I zoom out, you're like right by where the 90 and the 405 converge. So much easier to get around town and stuff like that. Playa del Rey is really cool because you're right by the beach. Like all this little cluster of condos here that are like in the $600,000, $700,000 range, like that stuff. You've got a little bit nicer amenities, but you can also walk right over to the beach. I had a listing here a couple of years ago, and the client said you can walk 5 minutes to the beach. Probably more like 10. So just a FYI. Then you can also, if you're willing to go a little bit more south, you've got El Segundo. I actually have a listing coming up in El Segundo right here, right by the high school here. It's probably going to be lower price than anything that's here. It just needs a little bit of love. But that's another good area. And also, if if you are maybe somebody that doesn't quite have kids yet and you want a good place to live, I like El Segundo just because, like, if you were to eventually grow your family, like until you're ready to upsize, at least you're in like the killer school range and stuff like that, because that's a really, really nice spot. One area, since I'm talking about since we're talking about condos, so let me put this back on record here. So so if you're looking for condos and you're not, it's going to be a little bit higher price point, but like say you're looking in Playa del Rey and you're looking at Fox Hills, if you're willing to go just like a little bit more south, don't sleep on Hawthorne. And here I'll show you, if we come over here in Hawthorne, you've got, this is probably gonna be a one bedroom. Let me see here. It's 750. Yeah, it's a one bedroom. But the 360 complexes and the why am I slipping on? I've sold here before. This is 950 though. Let me pull this up for you. I don't know why the name of the complex is slipping me right now. Let me pull it up here. But this is Hawthorne, and this is probably a little bit high compared to like what I've seen. Fusion is what I was getting at. So Fusion is a solid complex. So this is 950. Like I said, this is, no disrespect to this listing or anything, but it's probably a little high. And you can see 59 days on market. But then again, I mean, lots of stuff condo wise right now is at this price, or excuse me, these days on market. So yeah, so sometimes, like, let's see, we're going to go back here, and I'm going to pull up solds. Let's see in the last 6 months, because you're not seeing a lot of stuff come up. It's like a crazy market because you're not seeing a ton for condos, because you're not seeing a ton of inventory. But like, even sometimes, like with that said, it's still taking a while for stuff to sell. So okay, 986, 99. So here 850. So yeah, so if you can get just a little bit above that Playa del Rey level, like, it doesn't hurt to check out the Fusion complex, because there's nice stuff here in Hawthorne. Let me pull that up here. So here's the complex. This one sold for 850. When was it? In February. So let's look at it. Oops. Hold on one second. All right, this sold for 850 in February in Hawthorne, but this is like El Segundo adjacent. So you can kind of see here. Look at that. That's decent outdoor space there. Newer complex. So, like I said, in Culver City, where it's a little bit more north, if you're kind of wanting to be in the mix of things, but if you go a little bit more south and spend a little bit more, it's just it's newish looking. I gotta center this. There we go. There. Yeah, this is Hawthorne, technically, but like I said, you're kind of more in the mix of El Segundo and stuff. Not bad. So yeah, let's go back. Let me know if you want me to look in a different area. I've got the solds pulled up now too. It's always good to see like what's selling. Obviously, that's the phrase we use, comps or comparative sales, to kind of see what has sold. And this is also a good testament or exercise, if you will. Like, you've got something like this, and you're thinking about pricing like something on the higher end. You got to be careful with that, because here we're showing 59 days on market here. You know what? Let me see if I can get my cursor up. Probably have to do it when I'll have to do it next time. Next time I'll actually show you my cursor so you can see. But like over here, 59 days on market, like you start to see some of that stuff. If you've got a property on sale, people are going to wonder like, oh, what's wrong with it? Do you think we can get a deal? So that's the thing you got to watch out for when it comes to listing a little high. Because if you start to sit days on market, then people start wanting to bargain hunt and stuff like that. So if there's no requests, let me think of where. Well, you know what? We'll do a. Let me see here. What I'll do right now is I'll do a shameless plug. We're going to switch from the west side. I'm going to do a shameless plug of a listing that I have, which is up here in the Hollywood Dell neighborhood. So what's kind of cool is here you have where my listing is, and it's tucked up in here, like at the foot of the Hollywood, like the foot of these this portion of the Hollywood Hills here. And I don't know why it is not pulling up. Oh, because we're a little bit west or east of it. Here's the portion that I was referring to. So I want to plug my listing a little bit since we're on here, and since we're looking at condos in the area. So we were looking on the west side, but if you come over this way, over into Hollywood, here's like all the mix of Hollywood and everything that's going on over there. And then right at the foot of the hills here is my listing, and it's pretty cool. So I want to talk about it a little bit. So, like if you walk in here, it's the first floor. It's like really close to, like this is like not a large complex. I think it's 55 units if I remember right. But it's not large, but you can park at the same level as the unit. You walk in through the front door, and it's just like a really large living room. I feel like the photos are great, but it's still not quite doing it justice. You see the Castle Argyle right here, but you can peek. Once we get to a good shot here, you can see all the hills here, and like the photos aren't quite doing it justice, but in the top right corner, I can't point, but yeah, this is going to be, I need to put my cursor on, but you can see Griffith Park there. So it's just like a really cool unit. A lot of, like when I've held open houses here, a lot of people have talked about like how secure the building is, that sort of thing. Clients gave it a lot of nice touches that make it their own, but ready for somebody else to move in. So I encourage anybody, if you're thinking about Hollywood, this is a great place to check out. All right, let's get back over to my side of town, or not my side of town. This is my side of town too, but all right, let's click out of there. Okay. So condos slow at the moment. But I showed one last week where somebody was looking, and they had it priced well, they had it staged well, they had it looking good. And they had it looking good, and it went pretty quick. So that's, something. If you've got it looking good, staged well, and priced well, that's the key. You just can't get away. Like when the market was like more popping, for lack of better phrasing, like right around the pandemic, early 2022, before rates started shooting up. Like you could get away with like a little bit of overpricing. That just meant that you wouldn't like get massively over. I heard stories, I think, in Pasadena of like $1 million listing that like got bid all the way up to 2 million. The worst I saw was, I think I had a client that was looking in the $1.5 million range, and this was in Glendale. And you knew it was going to be busy because like the open houses were super crowded and stuff. And I told the client, I said, I'm like, after talking with the agent, I told them, I think you're gonna probably have to aim in the $150,000 range over asking. And I mean, I don't blame them, but they were a little skeptical. They were a little leery of what I was saying, and they ended up, I think, only is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but they ended up only doing about 130,000 over, and they missed out on it because it was like it ended up the winning bid was like 200,000 over. Obviously, that's not the time now. Um, the where you will still find, and maybe we'll do this another day, maybe sometime next week, where you'll find places that still are hot is like the sub $1 million properties. Sub $1 million properties will still sell, especially if there's like single family homes that are like the entry level for that neighborhood. So that's key. Okay, so um, so let's say you looked in Fox Hills, um, you looked in Playa del Rey, and then if you want to like something that's like adjacent that will probably like potentially be in a little bit similar pricing, that's probably going to be Palms right here. So sometimes you'll see bumps. We'll have yeah, see 675. I see a lot come up in this Lawler complex from time to time. I had a client that was very interested in that area, but see 675. But again, as opposed to Fox Hills, where let's get out of there. I gotta move that window. As opposed to Fox Hills, where you don't have climate control. This building should have, yep, central air. Central air, dead in the center of the screen there, you can see it. So let's look at this one. It's kind of get a good angle here. So yeah, a little bit newer on the inside. 675. So yeah, I mean, I remember looking at these and seeing them in the sevens. So definitely stuff has come down condo wise in LA. I I've been doing this for 10 years. I like this is the first time I'm seeing stuff that has come down. Um, 2019, you did start to see a little bit of stuff tapering a little bit, but not like that. Not like this, which is it's weird. I guess no, it's not weird because it makes some sense. Look at that balcony. Little bit of a small balcony here. Okay, that's cool. Okay, getting out of there. Oh, let's get out of there. All right, where to? Any requests? Where should I look? We looked. So we've done. So kind of recap. Let's recap where we've been, like as far as like the lowest entry points for the Los Angeles West Side when it comes to condos. We looked in the Fox Hills area of Culver City. Perks being that it's right next to the 405, pretty centrally located for getting around the area. Cons, lots of older buildings, some with issues. Um, the no central heating, cooling. Oh, and the one thing I did forget to mention, a lot of times these places won't have washer dryer in the unit. Next up would be Playa del Rey. One downside is you're starting to get farther outside the mix, and not as much stuff over here, like, which is kind of the similar thing. But a lot of these do have washer dryer in the unit. They do have central heating, cooling. Next up, you would pivot over to Palms area. So you'll start to have stuff in that similar price point. That's more of a crapshoot. This is very centrally located too, right at the 10 near the 10 and the 405. Also great spot for just getting around. And then one thing to watch out for when you're looking over here is you might get excited seeing lower prices here in Marina del Rey, which is in the Marina City Club. Beautiful complex if you live there, but you're paying to live there, not in purchase price, but in the sense of your HOAs, because you're looking at least $2,000 a month between your HOA and your land lease. So that's where it kind of gets away a little bit when it comes to affordability over there. Areas I'd say like dream areas. Like if I was thinking about wanting to live over here in a condo, Santa Monica is nice and all. You know what? You know, an interesting thing. I want to say this. An interesting thing I noticed about Venice is there's just little to no condos in Venice. Like you've got some of these higher end ones here. Like this is right off of Abbot Kinney here. These couple of these sold towards the end and beginning of the year. But look at that activity here in Venice. Like virtually nothing between Rose and Venice here. Nothing there. So there's just not a lot of stuff. There's just not a lot of condos, period, over there. So usually if you're looking at condos, you got to go up north to Santa Monica or come down into Marina del Rey. Or of course east. Well, even Mar Vista, look at that. Nothing in there. So just the interesting thing about that area. And then Santa Monica, you can still sometimes get decent pricing on condos. Here's a 2-1 at 690. Been on the market a while. Okay, here's something. Let's see, 690 for a 2-1. So would you rather live in Culver City and have an extra bathroom? Let's see what is going on. It's only 700 square feet, so that's small for a 2-bedroom. Let's see. Okay, kitchen. Older building. Trying to see if we can see how many units are in the building. Whoa, look how long. This is always interesting to see on properties is like, what is the activity on this? They like you see 100 something days, but you see the price history on here. Started at 825. Another thing, this is I'll say this. Another thing when it comes to beware of where you list your property, because this has been on for over 6 months. What is this, 8 months? And started at 825, took these teeny weeny price reductions, 10,000, 15,000, 10,000. Might as well, like, what if they would have taken this price reduction from the beginning? Because they're down now $135,000. What if instead of that 825, you had done a $75,000 price reduction a little bit earlier? I'm just not a big fan of the small price reduction. Like from a psychology standpoint, I'm sure there's data linked to it, but like just doing those really teeny ones doesn't make anybody feel like they're getting a deal. And it, at best, it just like bumps something up to like the top of people's search feeds, but you need to get into like a new price bracket and see how that really affects it. That's the way to go. Because look, if you shoot too low on your price reduction, then you like the worst that happens is you actually start getting some bids the other way up. I just sold a place where they had taken a massive price reduction, and then in turn that place got multiple offers. So instead, now this person is chasing down the market because like, what if after taking all this time, you know, there has been some like adjustment there. So like in the market, and now they're paying lower. So all right, what is that? That's I guess spam. I guess. Let's see, spam. Boom. See you later. That's cool though. I'll take it as engagement for now. I'm always taking requests for where to look. Right now, we're looking at condos in LA, browsing together. Actually, if there's nobody right now, I'm gonna head out for the weekend. So thanks for jumping on here. See you Monday.